Welcome to Nourished by Spinneys, the podcast which promises to inspire you to eat well and live well. I'm Tiffany Eslick.
And I'm Devina. Welcome to a space where we hope to nourish your heart and your soul. On this show, we chat with leading players in the food community, from farmers to foodies, as well as health and well-being experts. It's all about engaging conversations and fresh ideas.
Today we're chatting to our Christmas tree grower, Trine Grice from Denmark. We've worked with her for several years at Spinneys, and I was fortunate to meet her in 2019 when we visited her beautiful farm. It's been in her family for generations, and the farm is located in the most enchanting setting on the Danish coastline.
That sounds fabulous. What's her farm called?
Oh, I can never say the name right, so let's just ask Trine.
It's Bjergeskovgård.
Yes, and what does it mean?
It's mountains, wood, and farm.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. But they don't have mountains in Denmark, according to Trine. She's like, hills.
No mountains. No big hills. Yeah.
It was really interesting to learn how she got started in the world of Christmas tree farming, of all things. And it was fantastic to see some of the videos from your trip as well and get a sense of what that's really like.
Yeah, we spent a few days with our videography and photography crews shooting from sunrise till sunset. Fortunately, it was the summer in Denmark, so we had lovely, long, beautiful evenings. I really would have loved to be there in winter, though, with all the trees like sprinkled with snow, and imagine her magical farm like shimmering with white. But I sent the videographers back for that.
Hopefully you will get to go another time. And you don't realize it sometimes, but so much goes into this process, and it's important to know how Christmas trees are grown and where they come from too. I was reading about how they follow strict EU guidelines for sustainable plant production at the farm. So that means no chemicals, and they only use organic fertilizers.
Absolutely. And there's such a rich family history behind the farm as well. Her grandfather bought the property in the 1900s from a reputable farmer whose son had married a fisherman's daughter. And that meant that the farm had to be sold because the son couldn't inherit it.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Let's start out with how Trine got into the Christmas tree farming business.
It actually started with my grandfather, who was a big forester. And he had the farm, but he had only planted, it was most wood, and then a little with nobilis fire, which you can cut down, but no Christmas trees. He was only interested in the nobilis. And then my father took over the farm, and after that, I took over, in 1977, and it was most of the land was the apple trees, and a little with Christmas trees, just one field, and we continued like that for many years, and then apples wasn't that fantastic, and then in 1998 I took all the fruit trees away and planted the Christmas trees. From 1998, it's been only Christmas trees.
And as a child, when your father was running the farm, or even with your grandfather, were you always like enchanted by Christmas trees, or what? Did you get involved on the farm? What are your memories of being a child and farming?
Actually, I was most working with fruit plantation because in my vacations I could work in the fruit plantation. Then the nobilis, it didn't have, it was in autumn, and I was in school in autumn, so it was mostly the fruit trees. And actually I thought I was going to be an apple farmer, but prices went really down, and it was bad economic, so that is why I turned over to the Nordman. And in the beginning, the Nordman, you could just fertilize a little and keep the weed away from the trees, and then you cut them in autumn, and then you just cut all the trees you wanted to get out of the fields and pack them, and you just told the customer, I have so many trees of that standard, and then and also height, and But then more people saw that it was a good idea with Christmas trees. And now to have a good Christmas tree, you plant them in autumn or spring. I normally do it in spring. Then you see to that the trees are, that there's not allowed too much grass around the trees. They don't like the grass. The other kind of weeds is not a problem. And after 4 to 5 years, you start to actually, when they're 5 years old, and you form them and you cut them from underneath, so there's no branches on the ground, so the branches come away from the ground. And then every year you put on a stick to keep the birds away from the top so they don't break. And you cut them every year to have the same shape, so they look like a very good Christmas trees. Because many times trees that just want to grow and they grow wild, and it doesn't look so good. And then it takes too much room also when you take them in. So actually, with Christmas trees, it's a lot of work, and the whole year round now. Before it was just 2-3 times a year, but now you work with them every day and see to that they are looking good. And then you also have to have a little fertilizer, and I give them organic fertilizer. And that they like very much because they look very healthy and strong, the needles. And that's the trees you get in Dubai.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're looking for in like the perfect Christmas tree? What is it that makes it, a great tree for Christmas?
For a great tree, the branches, they have to be symmetric, and they have to be green, and the needles has to be strong, and a good Christmas tree, it depends on what room you put the trees in, but from 150 or 125, it depends what you would like. But we start cutting them when they're 1.25 meters, but not too many. And then when they are 1.75 to 2.25, that's the best size to cut them, or not the best size, but it's good to, it has a perfect height in nearly every room you have. And then also to 250 you get a lot of big trees because you have big roofs. Here in Denmark the houses are not so tall to the ceiling as it is in Dubai, and that's why you get a lot of nice, beautiful big trees. And I actually every year I let a field stand where I produce the big trees for you, because I know you like them very much. So.
Oh, cool. And how many trees have you sent this year to Spinneys? I know we've had the first batch arrive already, but how many in total are coming?
Yeah, you got a new extra container this year. Sorry, I haven't. I think it's 2,500 or something like that. And you have got some very big trees, 4 meters trees is coming on the last container. We are going to experience how that works, and also some Christmas wreaths. So but that is from Nobilis. Yeah.
Wow, 4-meter tree. I want that in my apartment, but it will hit the ceiling, so no. Are you still actively involved every day with the farming, or I know you've got Emil who works with you. Is it still taking up a lot of your time though?
Yeah, it is actually. And it's me who is picking out all the trees. You put on the marks on them, mark the trees, which we are selling and in which size they are. And that is me who does that. So I'm actually very busy in the trees from summer till now.
I remember when we visited, Trina has this whole color-coded system with all her tags and this very impressive setup that she puts on, and then she goes around like marking all the trees.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate Trina quality mark, So.
Yeah, so you really pick out which tree is a good one and not so good. Yeah.
So how many trees do you have at a time on the farm? How many do you plant every year, for example?
I plant between 12 and 15,000. It depends on the field. But when we cut all the trees before we plant new, so every field has not a number, a name, and then we make it ready, or for new plants after 10 to 12 years. Yeah.
So it's really in for the long haul.
Yeah.
Where do you get your saplings from? Like these new plants, where do you source those from?
I get them from Caucasus. It's and they're called ambulauri. It's a area in Caucasus which is called, and it has to be an ambulari. We have also tried to do some of the in Denmark, but it's depending on what climate they are growing in. Some trees you get, the small plants you get, then they grow too fast, and that's bad. So you have to have a plant which is growing slowly, and that is the ambularia. Also, the slugi is called. It's another one. Yeah, and they're very good actually for my farm.
And your farm, can you tell people just a bit about like where the farm is and why that location, you near the sea, and like why that location is so good for growing Christmas trees?
Yeah, it's near to the sea, only 500 meters from the sea, and it's very sandy earth I have, and that is what they like, because then they grow slower, the trees, and you also don't get so much frost when it gets under 0 degrees. That's bad for the trees in spring, but they get bigger for every year, and if they get the frost in spring, then they get then they don't grow symmetrically. Then they look weird. Well, it's not good. It's not good for selling then, because then you have one side is perfect and the other one is not so perfect. And I'm sorry, I don't have all the English words.
That's okay.
It's okay.
We don't have all the tree knowledge.
When we come back, Trine tells us her tips on taking good care of your Christmas tree this year and what nourishes her soul. That's right after this short break.
Welcome back. I'm Tiffany Eslick.
And I'm Devina Devecha.
And you're listening to Nourished by Spinneys with our guest Trine Grice.
I wanted to ask you about your tree knowledge, as Tiff mentioned. Obviously, we get these amazing trees from your farm here, which, people are able to put up in their homes for Christmas. Do you have any tips for, people who buy these trees, how to make them last longer, maybe how to cut them, how to care for them?
Yeah. When you buy your tree and you take it home, it would be good to take a little of the root. When you buy flowers, you also cut a little of the root.
Yes.
So they can soak the water, and then it's good for trees if it's humid. If you could spray them with a little water now and then. If you have a very big tree, it's difficult to just pour the water from the top, and it runs slowly down the tree. But you can also just, with a flower, dust some water on it. What do you call it?
Spray?
With water. Yeah, spray it with water. And not too warm, and not in the sun. That's no good. But I know you have a lot of air conditioning in your home, so that's, as long as it's not too warm, they should hold for the whole month.
So is it okay to have the air conditioner on? It's not going, can you keep it on at like 22 degrees and then that would be okay?
Actually, I don't know how it functions with the air conditioner, because in Denmark we don't have air conditioning. But if it stands too near to a warming, oven or something, then it's bad, or radiator. It's good it stands, just not too near heat things.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, they're not used to the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know one down in Dubai, and he has his tree every year, and it just stands in his room. But I don't know where his air condition is. But as long as it doesn't blow into the tree, it's not a problem.
I wanted to know what keeps you doing this year after year, and ever since 1977. What do you love about farming Christmas trees?
Well, I actually love to walk around in the nature and be outside and work with the trees. And, and they also have a little smell, and, you just follow them. And when I mark many trees, I listen actually to a book, but sometimes I just listen to the birds and walk up and down the trees. And so it's relaxing in a way.
Do you have a favorite part of your farm that you love to be on? Is there like one specific spot where you have a great view or?
Yeah, and there's a field where there's a beautiful view over the sea and to the next island. And that's fantastic. Yeah.
This sounds so nice. I want to go there now.
It's so magical.
I hope it has been little temptation. You're always welcome.
Oh, thank you. It sounds like the perfect winter wonderland for just getting into the spirit of Christmas. And I could almost, smell the trees and hear the birds as you were describing it. So, yeah.
It is magical. And in summer, it was beautiful too. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is beautiful in summer too. It's nice well, I love to be outside. I'm not I have to do my office work also, and that's quite tough because I'm not so interested in sitting inside. I like to be outside. Also because I've always been outside my whole life, Well, I've been studying, but still in my older life, it's after I took over the farm, it's always been outside.
I think there's a question that I find from a lot of people who put up Christmas trees. So I want to ask you as well. When do you put up your Christmas tree? Like how early on do you do it? And when do you take it down?
I put it up a week before Christmas. And also because I've been looking at a lot of Christmas trees. So, too early in the house, that's too much. So, and then I have it until the 5th or 6th of January. It's a tradition in Denmark where you keep your tree to there. Well, in our home. Many people also take their trees out, just after Christmas. But we have it stands until the 5th or 6th of January. Yeah, then we take it out.
I think there's like a saying, like if it's got to be done by the 6th, we have this at home.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's bad luck for the whole year.
Oh, right.
It's not done by the 6th of January. Yeah.
You have it also too.
Yeah, that's what I grew up.
Yeah.
We always had to have it done by the 6th.
Right.
So, yeah. And there was obviously always the fight as to who's going to put the star on the tree and, all that. Yeah. We also have one last question. What is it that nourishes your soul?
Nourish my soul. Well, freedom. You are in a way a little free, yeah. And you can decide. And if you don't feel well one day, you just work harder the next day. So yeah, I think it's the freedom I like.
That's lovely. And I think that's so true. If I think of like your farm, you have no fences because you just want the animals to roam free and you want people to you said you want people just to walk around. Yeah. So I think that really,
exactly.
You're echoing what is important to you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas period. And I hope that you do get to relax a bit once all your trees have been cut and sent and gone.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to January. Then everything is over and I have, done all the work at the office and and go and visit you also.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. So,
wait for the sun and with sun and warm. That we are missing right now.
Oh, shame, man. I know we're only a few episodes in, but that was maybe one of the most interesting answers we've had to our Nourish question.
Yes, it's natural to mention things we care about, but it was interesting that she was focused on something we take for granted, our freedom. Something to be thankful for, perhaps, this festive season.
This episode was brought to you by Spinneys and is hosted by me, Tiffany Eslick, and Devina. We're produced by Chirag Desai, with artwork done by Michelle Clements and Jihan Youssef. You can follow Spinneys on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for more. And visit us at spinneys.com, where you can shop for fresh produce, a variety of local and exclusive products, and Christmas trees.
We're taking a short break as we head into the new year, so here's wishing you a very Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
And we'll be back again in January with new episodes, more engaging conversations, and fresh ideas. See you then.